remember, the assistants and everyone there saying, hey, when am I going to get your videos? When am I going to get this from you? And I was like, man, what do I need to do? And I came across the very first site ever on AI. And this is what got my mind going. And it was Syllaby.io.
Hey, Tristan, welcome back. This month, let's make it super easy. Started doing what we're doing.
Artificial intelligence has been a wildly popular conversation nowadays. So much so that on a recent episode, we interviewed Chris Tam, who is one of the resident, I so eloquently describe him as geek, but he is really an expert. He understands technology as well as anybody in our industry. And he was giving suggestions on some of the AI platforms that you could be using. So I thought, you know what? I want to talk to somebody who is on the front lines, living in the game and using AI in their business. And so I reached out to my good friend, Martin Metzdorf, who is an area manager with USA Mortgage. He is recently hired Drunk on Social to help him with his video editing and growing his social presence. And one of the pieces to doing so is coming up with a consistent amount of content every single week, every single month, so that you can actually live up to what you want to do, which is increase your presence online and give our video editors what you're paying for. And so he's using AI exactly how we recommend using it for a big portion of your business, which is brand awareness, which is for brand growth, which is so many different things you can use in your business. And so today we're going to talk to Martin about exactly what he's using, how he's using it, some of the platforms that he's looking at, so you can literally take notes, write down these websites, write down these apps, write down these ideas, and go emulate them in your business. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. Metzdorf.
Thank you for that introduction, Mr. Pfitzer. It's good to be here.
So obviously we know each other well, and I know there's probably a handful of people out there using AI at a high level or using it, and I know you're one of them. And so I think this will be very beneficial to kind of break it down exactly what you're doing. And so for those of you that are listening to this, which I know is many of you, Martin is going to be sharing his screen and showing some of the things that he's doing. So if you want to follow up after listening to this, if worthy, go check it out on YouTube. Go look at what he's describing. Some of you I know are probably listening to this while you're in your car, driving, sitting in traffic. Some of you probably while you're on the treadmill. Others, I don't know what the hell you're doing while you're listening to this. But if you don't have the ability to write notes, make sure you figure that out real quick. Push pause, grab a pen and paper, get out the note app on your phone because you're going to want to take notes. So Martin, let's start from the beginning. Let's cut straight to this and talk first about, all right, you say, I need to grow my brand. I need to grow my business. I need to grow my presence. And so I'm going to be creating at least 10 videos a month. That's where this started. And so, you jumped right in. You said, I don't always have the creative genius to come up with content ideas. And that's where you turn to AI. Is that really where this started? What was kind of that love affair with AI?
Oh, 100% for me, Jeff. I mean, I'll remember when I signed up for coaching with you guys and we were going through what I neted to create, and you're like, here's your content pillars. And then I would get to the business, and I'm an overthinker. I really dig into the details of stuff. And I think the best analogy I was told by somebody is that you're telling people about the inside of baseball versus talking about the game of baseball. And inside meaning like what the scorebook says, 6-4-3 double play. And so I equate that to mortgage, what we're doing, because I had to get out of my head. I remember, the assistants and everyone there saying, hey, when am I going to get your videos? When am I going to get this from you? And I was like, man, what do I need to do? And I came across the very first site ever on AI. And this is what got my mind going. And it was Syllaby.io. And in my head, I was wondering, well, how do I find out what people are really searching for and what do they want to hear? Right? Because I've done mortgages for 23 years. I can talk the ins and outs of details of mortgages almost to the point where it's above the reading level of most of our consumers. Right? So the value is all great to me. And when I got into Syllaby, I'll actually share my screen with you here. When I got into Syllaby, it actually helped me see what people were searching for on Google. So that way I could start saying, okay, what do I want to create content around? And this is where it really kind of got me going into AI. I don't want to say down a rabbit hole, but I really got into Syllaby. Then I got into a couple others, ChatGPT, and then SuperS, and I'll show you those here. But let's just say if you're a real estate agent or you're a loan officer, let's just say the first thing we want to know is we are offering real estate services, right?
And let me digress for a half a second. Syllaby is where you turn to first. Syllaby, Syllaby.
Yep.
Actually was founded by a good friend of ours. Many of you know him, Austin Armstrong. It is built to help you create a social media strategy, and it does a ton of stuff. I bet you thought we were going to start with ChatGPT, but here we are.
Well, and I started with Syllaby first because ChatGPT I'd heard of, but ChatGPT in its own, it's like the next layer deep because you really got to understand how to use it. And if you don't use ChatGPT right, it's just like using Google. It's asking it a bunch of mindless questions that aren't pulling together what's your next step. And then I would find by the end of the day, all I've done is create all these ideas, but I have no executable plan. And so this is why I love Syllaby. So if you're a real estate, you want to offer real estate services to home buyers, right? This is the service that you're offering. You're a realtor, and then your audience would do home buyers, or we could do home sellers. So here I'm going to click Get Ideas. And now this was the coolest thing. These are the top questions that come up in search. It shows the search volume, the cost per click if you're going to do advertising, the competition in these, and then more importantly, the number of search results. So this is really helping you understand what it is the market is searching for. So if I was going down looking at this and I'm a real estate agent, I'm going to come back and say, okay, I'm going to look at what is a full service real estate brokerage first. I'm going to create a social strategy around that, which Syllaby will do all that for me. What is a service contract in real estate? What is debt service in real estate, right? So let's just come here. This is how easy Syllaby is. So what is a full service real estate brokerage? Come over here to this little calendar, click plus. We're going to save it to our calendar. And then all I'm going to do here is click AI outline.
So you literally, to start this search off, all you had to do was put in real estate, essentially. And you didn't even give it any more details than that. And then it gives you ideas based upon what others are searching and using, etc.
Yes, exactly. So here's an outline that it gives me. Now I'm like, well, I want to do this in a video. Here's my video script. So I'm going to select the type that I want it to be: explain or tutorial, testimonial, social media videos. What tone do I want to have? Upbeat, professional, funny. Let's just do funny for the sake of it. And I want to, what time do I want this for? Many of you guys are maybe doing reels where you need 30 to 60 seconds. If you're doing YouTube shorts, maybe you want that time a little bit longer. So let's just do 30 seconds. This is just the base that comes up. Now I want to regenerate the script.
Amazing. There's so much here. This is crazy. And I bet a lot of our listeners have not even touched, if they've even heard of it, they probably haven't touched this at all. That's pretty amazing.
Yes. This one piece of technology here was the first thing that it helped me go down the next steps of how do I create more content and just get it out there and post it. So here you go. Here's your 30-second video script, that you could take this, copy it if you're a Mac user, put it into the notes section, and then put it in a teleprompter, put it on your phone and hit record and read into this. And then take this and you can, use another type of AI editors. I don't use those. I use, your team for that because I think it's better. But this is how simple it is to generate a video script.
And so let me ask you this. So when it comes to creating a script, which, I know ChatGPT and many other AI apps can do the same thing. Are you taking these scripts verbatim, or are you taking them and tweaking them to make them your own?
I'm taking these and tweaking them to make my own. Great question. I'll take and use this as kind of like the 80% of what needs to be said. And then I'll take the 20% and kind of make it my own, shorten it up, add a little of my humor to it or just my personality. Because I want people to get to know me truly. And that's what I really do with this stuff. So I use this as a very, very tight outline, and then I'll make some adjustments where I think, okay, this isn't relevant to today's market. Because one of the challenges with AI is it's really only up to date as of 2021. So anything 2022 and 2023, we can go down a rabbit hole on this. There's other plugins and things you can sign up for that pull relevant stuff. But just starting to use AI, this data is still relevant, and at least from Syllaby, it's pulling what are the relevant search terms people are wanting to see.
So as we're talking about this as a way to create content for social media, for your business, for your marketing, I think when I say things like, you signed up for a package that you're going to be creating 10 videos a month. And I know on the surface, a lot of people think to themselves, well, that's, 10 videos a month out of a 30-day month. That's not that much. But the one thing that we are finding, and I'm sure most of you can either relate to this or you're thinking what I just said, that is, it's a hell of a lot harder to come up with these ideas than you think. And then when you talk about scaling it to another level and maybe going to a video a day or a video every other day, all of a sudden it becomes much more daunting. And I know, Martin, you're one of them. Every one of our clients is one of them. Everybody. We've never had one client where we didn't have to constantly poke them to say, where's your videos? Where's your videos? Where's your videos? Because this is, it's absolutely necessary, but it's absolutely daunting. But it become a hell of a lot more less daunting by using something like this.
So here's another. Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, I'll pull up text messages of and the assistants poking me. I'll go on like 2 weeks where I'm just kicking butt, doing really well with this, and then life happens. Business happens, and you get derailed a little bit because there's just things that come up. But the nice thing is, I'll even take, and I can show you my ChatGPT. Sometimes I'm still late at night having ChatGPT on my phone, pulling up ideas and say, write an Instagram post on this, and I'll then kind of take and use the Instagram post as my video script. That's how this has kind of evolved for me, is I've gotten used to really understanding what it is they need, and I've started to understand the content piece that people are looking for. So here's just another one: how to get listings as a new agent, right? This is just giving the breakdown of what you should talk about with on your content piece. And then here's a video script, and we'll just do this one to 60 seconds. Explainer, upbeat. Let's just do tutorial, upbeat, and professional. We'll go just so you can see different tones, and it'll regenerate the script. This is how easy it was for me to get going and realize, more importantly, just to get out of my head in creating content.
And there's also an article tab. Does that mean it's like writing a blog type post? Is that what that is?
You know what? I believe so. I haven't gone that far with it because I just get right to the video piece. So to be honest, I'm learning that piece on the fly with you. But again, this is just how easy it is to create a video script. So let's take a look at the article here. Actually generate an article. So it's going to generate an article on how to get new listings as an agent. So we'll do this as explainer.
Yeah, just leave them as is. Yeah, that's fine. Just for the sake of seeing what it does, it's pretty fascinating. And for those of you again listening, I mean, I hope we're doing a good job of kind of describing this to you. But Sillaby, and I think, Martin, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot more to the platform, because can't it write captions? So once so now you're just coming up with content ideas, but it can write captions, suggest hashtags, all sorts of things. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a one-stop shop for your social media strategy.
Yeah, and it pulls it all together, whereas ChatGPT, I would say, is going to be more for the more advanced users who really understand where they're taking each step. And that's where as I use Syllaby enough, and I use it to create enough video scripts, I'm like, okay, now I get this. And then I'm always laying in bed or sitting around thinking about what's the next step and just kind of tinkering with stuff. That's where I got into ChatGPT, ChatGPT-4, and started asking really outside the box scenarios. If we went to step 8 or 9 in the real estate process, for example, on the mortgage, like why is it important to use a professional lender versus an online lender? And how does it affect the closings or the guarantee of the loan coming through? That's where I started getting deeper into stuff versus this high level content, which I think Syllaby was great for.
Yeah. Wow. This is awesome. So, okay. So I think that's a good baseline on Syllaby. I mean, this is a perfect example. If you can go back to the beginning real quick, and we can quickly just revisit walking someone through. So when you sign into Syllaby and you're at this kind of homepage or early stage page, you're literally just writing in a keyword or service offered, and then an audience, and that's it. You type get ideas, and it's going to run from there. And then so once you've got that, have you ever found it where you needed to run from Syllaby over to another platform to kind of expand on something?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like, have you ever taken any ideas that you've gained here and then run over to ChatGPT and had ChatGPT kind of expand on it?
Yeah, that's eventually where I got more ingrained into ChatGPT, is I got better at understanding how to use ChatGPT. So, for example, I had one that I wrote here. It was on analysis paralysis of the market, right? Because I just feel like there's so many news articles that are saying the market's bad and it's causing people to not take action in this opportunity of a housing market we have here. So I created something in Syllaby, and then I turned around, it gave me a video script, and I turned around and used that same context, went into ChatGPT, and I put it in there, and I said, write me a home buyer's guide of analysis paralysis, outlining the top 5 reasons that people should buy a home today. And I actually did that as a SocialCon, by the way. So I was sitting inside SocialCon while you guys were giving the presentation there, and I wrote a home buyer's guide in a professional tone and in a funny tone, and all I had to do is turn around and give that to marketing, and they put nice pictures and stuff on there. But that's how easy it was to use.
That was through ChatGPT?
Yeah, I did Syllaby first, and then I used ChatGPT to then create the actual guide for me and put stuff on that guide.
So let's go over to let's shift to ChatGPT next. So again, founded by OpenAI, then purchased by Microsoft and inserted into Bing. ChatGPT is like, Google, right? You go in there, you can ask it any various question, and within seconds, it's going to spit out a reply, and then you can basically have a conversation with it, right? But let's focus on what you're using it for today. So you're showing us right now the what you typed in says, write a professional home buyer's guide for how to overcome analysis paralysis when buying a home. And then when you look at this reply, it gives him a title, an intro, and then how many steps? I see 5 on the screen. Now scroll down, 8 steps,
8 steps, yep.
Plus a conclusion. If you hear us say this all the time, Martin, I just got back, depending on when this goes live on which podcast medium, I just got back from Northern Virginia and was doing an event and was talking about AI. And the one thing I tell every audience, and you've heard this not just from me, but from others, that, AI may not replace us, but the person using AI will replace you. And so it's a matter of, embracing AI. And if you're not tinkering with this, and I'm not talking about for entertainment, I'm talking about for legitimate uses for your business. I mean, this is a great example of something. Show us another one. What are some other examples of things that you've ChatGPT for?
Oh, like for example, I used one on our USA Mortgages all cash offers, because I wanted it to do a mass text out to realtors, write me an SMS message to a cold realtor lead showcasing USA Mortgage cash offers, which gets the realtor to respond or call, right? Like I'm telling what.
So let's be very specific. Let me read this. So this is what he wrote. And think of this as if you're a real estate agent, you think about in terms of to a cold lead, to a cold home seller, to a cold home buyer or renter, right? So Martin's case, write an SMS message, a text message to a cold realtor lead showcasing USA Mortgage cash offers program, which gets the realtor to respond or call. So he's very specific about what he's asking for. And I'll kind of walk them through this.
Yeah, so I hit that. It created this little, hi, realtor's name. Did you know USA Mortgage has an unbeatable cash offers program? Buyers get pre-approved funds, ensuring faster closings, no financing issues. Curious to learn more? Give me a call, right? So then I'm like, cool, I like that. Now, if I also want to have my guys call these people, because some of them still call, let's rewrite it as a cold call script. And the whole point of this, where I really got my mind going, this, Ryan Cooper, one of the guys that you met at SocialCon there, runs Dr. Emmy's. He used to work for GoDaddy, and where he was telling me about this 9 months ago, he was teaching ChatGPT prompts and how it would convert. And he found that what really took my mind to this when we were at SocialCon is he was talking about how they took old dead leads and they put this data into ChatGPT and said, rewrite or write a script to contact this lead from an email and write it to get them to convert. And they found that all these quote unquote dead leads, ChatGPT was able to write a response to them to get these clients to trigger. And they had about a 70% response rate from these dead leads that were there that all of their salespeople said were no good. So to me, like if you're a realtor and you're doing online lead gen, or you've got just leads that you feel are dead, there's a great way to type in what the end result is. Use ChatGPT to really get into the human psychology to get them to respond to you, which at the end of the day is what we really want for conversations, right? And so that's how where it kind of took me to the next level is, how am I using ChatGPT to be more specific, like it's an employee, telling it what I want it to do and what's my desired result I want from it, not just like a Google search.
Yeah. Wow, that's really awesome. And so, so this is a great example that it's not, in this case, as I mentioned in the onset, which is not just necessarily for script writing, or I'm sorry, social media script writing, or video script writing, you're using it literally for dialing for dollars and helping, like, as you mentioned. So if you're a lead, a team lead, for example, you could be helping your realtors with scripts to work from when they're calling on customers. And here's another one.
Give me, like, I did this for hashtags, just to what's to put in, just to try and see what this is like. Give me 30 ideas to post to Instagram and use hashtags, because sometimes we just need, what are things for us to post that are non-real estate related, non-mortgage related, just to stay in front of our people. But these are the top 30 ideas that came up, like a morning routine, share these things, and then use these hashtags just to kind of get you in front of your people and being that constant, top of mind. There's an endless possibility with ChatGPT, but I think the number one thing to take away from all this, you got to execute. You got to take and actually make the video, make the other piece, which is going to engage with people or post it.
I'm noticing on the left side where you've got the chats, you've got some very geographically specific questions. Maybe pull one of those up, because for all of us in the real estate industry, a geo strategy is super powerful. And here's an example that he just pulls up. Write me an Instagram description about living in Gilbert, Arizona. And so this is your caption, right? So I guess you had a post, and now this is the caption that goes with it. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, and actually part of these are things that we actually use to generate Facebook groups. Facebook groups is a huge tool to engage in people moving to the area. And we actually created some special pages for Gilbert, for a couple of other locations where our branches are at, for people looking to move in those areas. And this is where we've used ChatGPT to get us Facebook, the group. I can't talk right now. So this is why I use ChatGPT, is because you can tell sometimes I get writer's block, right? Yep. Is to go over the descriptions to get people, when they click on these groups, to understand, what's it like to live in Gilbert, Arizona? What's it like to live in Wenatchee? And then get them engaged and start scrolling on the page and engaging with our members. Like, this is what I'm using it for, is to help really truly build out the marketing content.
So good, man. I mean, there's so many possibilities here. And again, I cannot implore you enough as a listener, if you're not at least just playing around, literally go in. I've asked it the question, and this is goofy, but I've asked the question, like, who is Jeff Pfitzer? Just to see what it would say. and it would say, at the time, I haven't done it in a while, but it didn't know who the hell I was. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to give it a little, just give it some little extra clues. And then once I did that, it started spitting out a bunch of stuff, which was fairly accurate. And it was just basically using the title or the company name to say, well, I don't know who the hell he is, but I'm going to guess that he must be an expert in blah, 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 blah. And it's just playing around with this stuff and seeing what you can, again, what you could possibly do with this, that it's just incredible.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and I'll come back to the mortgage and real estate side. Fannie Mae has a big change with valuation modernization and getting rid of the appraisals and moving more towards automated values. And I wanted to know, this is where I just wanted to see, what did ChatGPT say? How would this affect the real estate market? It was pretty interesting going over positive and negative impacts. I mean, I hope what people are really hearing from this is, don't just think of this. You should throw everything you can at here. If you have a question, be very specific on what you want from it and what you think could happen. Ask it to give you the positive and negative, so you can turn around and then just put this in video, blog content, and share it with your people.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's really good. And like you mentioned, it's the cutoff is on the free version, September of 2021. And so anything more recent than that, right, is not necessarily going to be up to date yet. Or you got to give it more context when it doesn't know, basically, right?
Yeah, you do have to give it some context and lead it down a path. That's what I've noticed more as I've played around with it and really gotten comfortable with ChatGPT. You really need to be specific, like you're telling it, and it's an employee. Treat ChatGPT as an employee for you, and you'll get the best results from it.
And I'm gonna share an example, just a stupid example here, just for giggles. And again, this is the free version of ChatGPT. So I did the same thing. I rewrote who is Jeff Pfitzer of Drunk on Social. So I was specific about that. Same general answer. It says my cutoff is September 2021. I couldn't find any specific information, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, if you can provide more details or context, it says I might be able to assist further. Then I go up to the top right, where it's got these different options of please continue, clarify, exemplify, expand, explain, rewrite, shorten, tweetify. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to click Tweetify and see what it does. So I clicked it, and then it says, so it automatically puts in the request, please make this into a tweet with only one hashtag max. Use appropriate emojis. Okay, that's freaking cool.
Yes.
And then here's its response. Just discovered Jeff Pfitzer, the social media maven behind hashtag drunk on social. His insights and strategies are mind-blowing. Stay tuned for some serious social media inspiration. Hashtag social media guru. I mean, dude, that's pretty good, man.
The social media maven.
I'm gonna have to share that one, man. I didn't say anything. That's all I said is who is, and I'm just playing with it because I'm kind of just testing it. Like, what can you come up with? And of course, there's emojis in here. It's drunk on social. It has a wine glass emoji next to a cell phone emoji, and then the mind blowing. Of course, it has the mind blown emoji. I mean, dude. It's so crazy, man.
It's really, really cool stuff. I mean, it's great. So that's what I've used ChatGPT and then Syllaby, and that's kind of my journey with how it's turned into there. And then I've gone down to plenty of rabbit holes with these things. I mean, just getting into AI and seeing what it can do. I mean, I think there's a lot of AI that people are definitely the trend's picking up, and now they're starting to sell and get you to buy stuff that I don't know necessarily everyone's going to need. It's going to get really nichey, but I think if you really start using the pillars of AI for content creation, you're going to be ahead of 80% of the people out there.
Yeah, I would say even more so than that. It's crazy good. So, all right, what else have you been playing around with? So we've got Syllaby. Everybody is, which may or may not, everybody may not know about, and then that will create a social media strategy for you very simply with very little information. And then you're taking obviously you're going down that rabbit hole as how you describe it, and it writes you scripts, and it can write you blog articles, and it can do all this. It can give you an outline, and then in some cases you're taking it over to ChatGPT and expanding even further.